Okay, it's 6:09. Appreciate everybody's patience till we got a quorum. We'll call the meeting to order. And we have minutes from March 13th,
So moved.
moved by Mr. Ike, seconded by Mr.
Second.
Berman. Got an echo here, Nancy. Hopefully that's better. There we go. Okay. Yeah, and there was a revised set sent out a little later by Nancy. Any comments, questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Chris, did we get a vote from you? Or Jesse? Chris or Jesse, they're both muted. Everybody else has voted aye. Any hands? Do we have hands up? Did we lose Chris and Jesse? Hi, Jesse. Okay, Jesse's an aye. You can't hear you though, Jesse. Yeah, we're not getting your audio. And Chris, did we lose you? Yeah, you're muted, Chris.
I'm sorry, I'm right here.
Okay, yeah, we have a motion. All in favor, say aye for the minutes, pass the minutes.
Yes.
Aye.
Jesse, raise your hand if you're in favor. I can't hear you. Okay, now we're unanimous.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. That was painful. All right, so let's go right to new business, and we have Anthony and Scott from Downs.
Share my screen. Everybody could hear me. All right, let me get into it. Should be on Scott. All right, hopefully everybody can see my screen. Standard operation for the agenda. Nothing's changed. We'll give a quick project update on the subcontracts and permit. We have every permit in place except right now our fire protection subcontractor. With that being said, they're going to turn over shop drawings and calculations over to the fire marshal. And once that happens, we'll be able to get our permit pulled, or their permit pulled for fire protection moving forward. Item 1B, construction schedule update. We're going to talk about the site clean soil that is currently being stockpiled. Manafort is looking into a facility to drop this off. Again, they're going to remove it from the site. Any disposal facility, knowing that it's clean product, should be able to accept this. The contaminated soil that is on the processor side of things that is covered right now, and that's behind the Jersey barriers. Manafort is still trying to find a disposal facility within the area to drop that off. We've required or requested them to reach out to Manchester landfill. Manchester takes this type of soil, but the only problem is they're only allowed 2 loads a day, and you need to be scheduled up. So you're fighting for a 2-spot position moving forward with anybody else that's trying to bring contaminated soil in. So Manafort's working diligently to find a accepted facility to take this product. Site grading is continuing along for the foundation excavations in preparation for the cast in place work. Manafort has moved to the north side and south side of the new library footprint, and they continue to excavate and provide the path for our concrete subcontractor. On a big note, Manafort is going to start work on April 1st with the installation of the MDC approved slide rail system, which will allow us to excavate in 82-foot sections for that west side footing, which will be the edge of the new parking garage. With that being said, Manafort's going to excavate about 80 feet within this custom trench box. And right behind that, we are going to start forming, placing rebar and pouring concrete. Once we're done with that and the concrete settles, we'll be able to install and start forming rebar and placement of concrete for the wall. So in 80-foot sections, you're going to have footing and wall installed before we could finish the back end of that elevation, which would be another about 60 feet from that 80. So it was big news from the MDC that they approved this shoring design. It allows us to work within a small encroachment of the MDC encroachment area, but it also will give them the comfort of knowing that their 24-inch RCP line that is buried underground will be supported, which was big news. We've been dealing with that for the past, I would say, 6 weeks. So we finally took that under control, and MDC gave us a blessing to move forward, which is fantastic news. Concrete forming and rebar continuing on the east and south elevations in preparation for the next concrete pour, which will be scheduled next week. And again, I'd like to touch upon that west elevation is going to start as well with Manafort in that custom trench box that they're going to be providing us. Underground MEP utility installations will start once the concrete foundation work is in place. We plan on having a coordination meeting with the responsible trade contractors to talk about the underground work that needs to happen, along with Manafort, who will own the trenching for those utilities. Currently, Riley is still being used as a material laydown area. Custom Electric has mobilized a small field office and storage container on that site. Any subcontractors that are coming on or need access to that side, that Riley side, is going to be coordinated with Jason if they want to drop off a storage container, equipment, or some type of field office at that point in time. Moving on, item 1C here is the requisitions and change order proposals section, as always. We are looking for approval for March 2024 in the amount of $929,029.38.
Okay, stop and look at that. Can you put that up on the screen?
The requisition?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I should be able to. I just got to get actually into, let me get into my email. Actually, it's probably the best way to do it.
We have questions on the requisition while we're waiting. Wait till it's up to see if anybody else has questions.
I don't know if everybody can see it.
So this is application number 9, covers the time period from
Basically, all of March. Yep. So what we usually do is when we do submit these requisitions, we usually get our subcontractor requisitions around the 20th each month. From that point on, they are trying to forecast and foreshadow, you know, taking them to the end of the month of where they're going to be. So if you look here, we have all our schedule values, which is based off of our GMP, our approved contract with the town of Bloomfield. Each one of these items here in column C, you'll see a scheduled value will be revised accordingly based on approved change orders to date, which will reflect a difference from the original GMP number that was in there. And in our monthly reports, you could follow that tracking by our budget report that we put in our monthly report, which is updated and current with the most recent figures. It also has approved costs for change orders as well as any pending, and it will show you a final potential sum for that line item for that subcontractor. All right.
You know, I know typically, and always true, this has gone through the hands of our project rep, Sean, and through the architect's hands as well for approval with any questions. But despite that, I still had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just the structural wood framing.
Yep.
Is now being built up to 25%.
Yes.
Can you?
That is for material. $34,000 was for the shop drawing process, which I remember we were requiring a breakout to try to get them moving because Epifano dropped their bid. So let me actually scroll down. As you could see, and Mark, I'll touch upon that once I hit their requisition, what they're billing. Right now, you could see all the subcontractor specific breakdowns in detail. What I like to do is I usually go through each one line by line. If I'm okay with their billing, I'll write okay. And if not, I'll make a note. They'll revise their requisitions. They'll cut it to what percentage I feel and Sean feels and TSKP feels that they need to be. So for instance, we're scrolling down. Acronym is our concrete subcontractor who's through it. Originally, their first submission had their footings, they were billing 100%. They're not even close. They're 50%. They were billing 80% of their walls. Again, they're only 50% through. So that's some of the items that we catch and that we vet.
Yeah, yeah, I know. This was the only item that I
Yep.
saw that I.
So let's go. Yeah, let's go down to South County Post and Beam. So right now, their general conditions, they're billing 50%, which is all their staff time and project management time. Their bond, which we require them to submit a performance and payment bond, which was broken out based on the contract.
Shop drawings.
Shop drawings, the reason why they're 90% billed and not fully is because they have a 3-inch glue lamb piece component to this puzzle that they need to put shop drawings together for. And then they have all their material in the shop that they're currently fabricating, which they're about four weeks away from bringing to the site.
So we are paying for some off-site material.
Correct.
You're in the microphone there. No, you're all right. You're okay with that. I mean, I want to make sure that that's
Yeah,
business as usual.
absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Anybody have any questions in regards to
Anybody
the
else
rec
with
process?
Hands up or, I can't see everybody on the screen, but, all right, so we need a motion? Moved by Bob Berman,
Second.
second by Bob Ike. Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions? Anyone there, Nancy? We're good? Okay, all in favor of approving, please say aye.
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 That is unanimous. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, everybody. Moving on. Budget COPs, change order, potential change orders coming down the line here. We have COP 7B, Children's Room MEP modifications. We have been reviewing some costs that have been coming in from the subcontractors. We haven't fully put the change order proposal together yet. Right now, we are showing about a $5,000 budget credit coming back. We continue to request pricing from affected trades. The biggest component to this credit was from our electrician, who had a $13,000 credit for the changed light fixtures going to a ceiling mounted fixture due to the congestion in that space. COP 9, structural revisions and clarifications, PR number 5, $1,979, which is currently being in review with TSKP. They have some questions, comments, and concerns with that. So there's some further discussions required on this. COP 12 is the wetlands clarifications. We're still showing the $149,000 budget, but we are formally in a review to substantiate the scope of work. I know Rock from SLR has provided a preliminary review to get sent back to Manafort when they do adjust their price. I did say they did wanted to see what that cost would be with those things that Rock from SLR picked up. But in the meantime, they're still debating a scope of work moving forward with this work.
Yeah, my understanding is it may not all be attributable to wetlands, that some of this is DOT.
I heard it's a DOT encroachment, correct?
But we're waiting for Rock's full explanation on that.
Right. And then once those are basically solidified and we know the route we need to take, we're going to have Manafort obviously take a look at it and reprice it. And at that point in time, the scope should be reduced and the pricing should come down.
So Anthony, can you just walk us through the 7B COP? Because my understanding, I thought we were going to get a much bigger credit for that. Why is it dropping again?
Right now, we had some time in there structurally to have them coordinate their structural model on their behalf, which caused some time. We do have some ductwork changes within that space and modifications to some additional material. We have that $13,000 credit from Custom Electric. We have some concrete work. Remember, as MHA removed the structural steel beams, now we have to install some temporary shoring to support the bigger span of that concrete deck.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll talk,
Yeah,
let's talk more about this offline, because I know
there's still some more.
there's a
right,
bunch of credits for the steel too, so.
Right, and we're still vetting
Okay.
it through and we're still going to it. That's why I put the caveat on there that it's not fully assembled yet.
Yeah, and the wetlands too. I mean, just the preview from rock, it's not even be close to that.
That's
So,
fantastic, but that's
it's a little alarming sometimes seeing these numbers. And it's like everybody's thinking, oh, well, here we go. This is not true, everybody. This is just what Downs is putting forward that we need to vet. And I think Anthony, you and I need to vet those two pretty heavily.
Of course, that's usually what we do.
Counting on you to do
Well-
that, but better that they go down from here than.
Right, it's I tried to show the worst case scenario, really. But again, I forwarded you and I was transparent as possible from the actual pricing that we did receive from Manafort based on that 30 item ASI that we received. So right, it's not a budget, it's a hard number currently sitting from Manafort. So I have their proposal, which I forwarded to everybody as soon as we got it. All right. COP 15 is the added independent support for the sunshades. Right now, I'm showing a ad of $20,000. That is for $12,000 structural steel. We're hoping to get a credit back from Accurate Door and Window. Right now, I put in a $0 cost for them. But again, that should be coming back as a credit, so that $20,000 should drop. And I also have an additional $5,000 in there for any modifications to any cold form framing that may or may not be required. So again, that number.
Anthony, just to be clear, that credit potentially is going to be any extra reinforcing the mullions that we would have had to do.
Correct, and I brought that to
Okay.
Accurate's attention. Right now, it's in their court with their engineer, and I hope to have some pricing early next week on that from them.
Have we heard back from them about the depth of the mullions that Mark had brought up, that potentially there could be some cost savings, that we don't have to do the full 10.25 inch depth, keep it 7.5 like we are at the mezzanine?
Yep, I sent
Top
that
of the
over to
stairs.
them.
Have we heard back from them?
I haven't heard back from them on that, but
Okay.
yes, that was part of that whole package that I'm waiting to get a response from.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. And that's really it for COPs, that we're tracking to date. I know
For any action on that.
we're not working, nope, that's all just, talk right now. And I'd like to just keep it open and as transparent as possible. Again, if there's anything down the line that may or may not have that may have a cost, I will add it to the COP list. Again, nothing becomes official until everybody reviews it and approves it. We're again trying to be as transparent as possible. That's why, again, Colliers reviews it, TSKP and their staff and their consultants review this. So everybody is on the same page and fully understands the scope of work. All righty. Official COPs for approval, I have none. But I'd like to go into the last section here is the progress photos. Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't have it on there, but yeah, that'd be great. So we have a GMP change order number 3, which is based on all the approved COPs from last committee meeting. Good catch, Nancy. Thank you.
Okay, so this is change order number 3, which consists of all the COPs we approved at our last meeting. We have a motion to approve change order number 3.
So moved.
We'll take that as a second, Mr. Ike.
Okay, second, I'm sorry.
Okay. Bob Berman beat you to it. Questions on change order number 3? Anybody's hands up, Nancy? All in favor of approving change order number 3, please say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
nays? Oh, there we go. Okay. Thank you. We're unanimous.
Thank you, everybody. And then we'll go into the progress photo section of this. So the first photo here is basically a continuation from where we left off at the last committee meeting. So that is the date of 3/13 of where we left off with concrete walls and footings that were poured. And as we go through this photo section, you'll see at the end where we are and where we made progress, and I could give you an update on that. So this shot right here is basically showing you that all the forms have been removed on that big retaining wall in the center portion of the building. As you can see here in the highlighted yellow area, that's the section that we're talking about. Okay. The next photo is on looking at towards the Riley lot in the west corner, the northwest corner of the building. They are forming and getting ready to pour concrete. In between those forms, the rebar was inspected and installed. So we're just waiting on to concrete pour, which it did happen. As you can see here, we have that whole, that line highlighted in yellow. Anything highlighted in green here or the blue means the wall has been poured as well. Okay. This is the northwest. Oh, okay, yeah, northwest, my fault. That was poured yesterday. Yep, forms are coming off. If they're on site tomorrow due to the rain, they'll be out there removing those forms. All right. This is looking at the foundation wall coming towards the step footings coming towards Tungus Avenue on the east side. Again, you can see the footings have been poured. The wall is formed and it was poured yesterday. So that's coming up the line there. This is coming also, this next section here is the footing that is coming up the east side of the elevation, which will be the front of the library along Tungus Avenue side. We are waiting to put up forms and start the wall. Good thing about this section here is the walls aren't going to be as high as that center retaining wall or the walls to the north and to the south. So concrete contractors should be able to move quickly through that once they get it formed up and rebar tied in. That's looking at the same view, the same work, but just a different view looking towards Mountain Avenue. As you can see, that footing is going down the line there, which is highlighted in yellow based on our foundation drawing. This is a pier going up on the corner of the building. That's going to be by the elevator, the new elevator and the stairwell in this area. We have rebar embedded into the footing. As we go up with the pier, we're going to form it and we'll pour that concrete. Usually on top of these type of piers, you'll see anchor bolts where the new structural steel column will sit going up. All right. Forms taking place. This is around to our back of this view is Mountain Avenue. This is going to be another wall that's being formed and rebar being tied in around the new elevator pit and stairwell. All right, and then now you could see is the total pour date of 3/27 where we have walls and footings all the way up to this column line up here. And this is just pours, right? So this is concrete that has been placed. But a lot of this still is formed over in this area. We have forms that have been installed. We have rebar that has been installed. Again, this highlighted item is only what's been installed as for concrete work. It doesn't
Yeah, I like
include.
the overall plan is helpful because we can see roughly what the percentage is that's complete. This is good.
Right, and that's 100% complete. That's footing and wall. Again, this is not showing or depicting what we have on there for installed rebar and installed forms. All right. Anybody have any questions?
Questions? Any hands up? Hands up, Nancy. Jesse? Jesse, we cannot hear you. Well, hopefully we get that fixed. Any other hands up while we're? Okay. All right, anything else from our friends at Downs? You guys are good.
We're all set. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate that. So let's move on to the SKP, and we've got Abby and Jeff and Richard.
I guess I can start. Can you guys hear
Yeah.
me?
Go ahead,
Yes,
Jeff.
we can.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Great. So regarding Prosser, submittal review and R5 review process is ongoing. Paying attention to Downs's hot list that John sends me, so anything that he needs that's urgent, he'll pick up the phone and call me, so it's been working quite well. Michael Horton, our structural engineer and TSKP met today with the pre-still installation meeting that was held with Downs. I think it was a productive meeting. A lot of things were kind of opened up and further discussion needing first coordination with the trade. So that was a good meeting. Field report 1, I issued this today. I went to the site this morning, so nothing more. I could show you the field report, but it's pretty much what Anthony showed you as far as the footings and stuff. Everything looks good. The rebar looked nice and tight. The job site looked fairly clean. There's a family of, looks like mallard ducks, I think, in that MDC stream that we're keeping an eye on, make sure that they're watching Downs and make sure things are kept out of that stream. Regarding McMahon, I presented the new
Jeff.
project or the
Jeff,
revised project.
before we move to McMahon, I'd like to touch upon Prosser FF&E schedule, if you don't mind.
Sure.
May I share the screen?
Yeah. I stopped share, so you should be able to.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
All right, while we're still talking about Prosser, just want everybody to know that we haven't forgotten the FF&E portion of Prosser. We have a revised FF&E schedule created just to give the committee and all present an update. We typically work with the end date of construction, which I believe was March 25th until yesterday. This morning, we were informed that construction could end by March 5th. I'd like to stick to the 26th date just in case something comes up, because this was the original date. As we move backwards, we are hoping that once McMahon furniture is out of the way, we can start furniture discussions with the library staff, say middle of April. And that Prosser is a larger project, and although we have some basic idea of what furniture needs to be placed in all the rooms, we still will have quite a bit to discuss about the exact pieces and quantities and of course budgets and everything. We're not sure if we are going to bid or procure through state contract, or maybe do a combination of both for now, because bidding takes the longer time. We have put that into the schedule just so we know where we are, and just so we have allocated enough time for that process. The idea is to be able to present to the building committee a full FF&E package with all the selections, layouts, and cost estimate on the June 19th meeting. And when everything gets approved, we will move on to preparing our bid documents, pulling all the specifications, drawings, everything in order, including all the front-end material, whatever is needed to be done for the town of Bloomfield. And we're hoping to get the bids out by September 23rd. We gave about 2 to 3 weeks time for all the bids to come in, and then TSKP will do a review. That should take a few days depending on what type of bids we get back. Sometimes if we accept equal products, there might be some time involved in looking at the products, evaluating, and making sure that they are in fact equal to our specifications. All said and done, we would like all the purchase orders issued just before Thanksgiving or by that week, so that we will have about 18 to 20 weeks to the March 26th start of delivery and installation of furniture. We typically like to have a pre-installation meeting with all the vendors so that they can come and see the spaces and discuss any staging needs and making sure all the spaces are ready and in move-in condition. We always, this is a double-story building, so there should be an elevator working, because usually that's how furniture installation is priced. There is no stair carry involved. We can talk about the rest when we get closer to that date, but as of now, this would be the plan. And once furniture is installed, all the technology equipment should come typically after the furniture is installed. And we think that if, say, everything goes by this plan, we don't exactly know when the library open date is, but we're hoping by end of April 2025, there should be a brand new Prosser building completely furnished with furniture and all the necessary equipment. Any questions?
Questions for Abby? Bob Berman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Abby, can we have a copy of that schedule?
Sure. Can I email it to you later today or tomorrow?
Yeah, email it to Nancy so she can
All right.
distribute it to us.
Okay, sure.
Other questions? Questions for Abby or Jeff on Prosser? Bob?
Yeah, Jeff, also, what you had up on the screen, can you email that to Nancy so we can get it too?
Sure.
Thank you.
I can pull it up again because I think should I continue with McMahon and then Abby, you jump in after me?
Yes, I'm done with Prosser. Yes, thank you, Jeff.
All right, let me share my screen again. All right, so can you see it?
Yeah, we're good.
Good. Okay, so we went through Prosser. Now for McMahon. Scott Shaw, Glenn and I, Scott is with Downs, Glenn is with the DPW, had a meeting and I walked Scott through the scope for his estimating purposes on Friday, last Friday, to clarify who's doing what. So I think we got a pretty good idea of what Scott should be estimating versus what Glenn is going to carry for McMahon. We also had a scope review with our IT consultant, Nick D'Agostino, and Chris from Bloomfield on Tuesday. And I believe some other library staff was there. I think Allison was there, and I forget who else was there, to clarify what the IT needs are for McMahon. Again, what Glenn is going to carry versus what's in the IT budget. So that was a very productive meeting. I was able to pull up some images of the rack system that they have currently, and both Chris and Nick thought we could save some money because it looks like it's a newer rack. So we're working on strategies and ways to get everything that the town needs, but not include some of the things that, you know, fairly new that we can actually put the money somewhere else. So that's where we are with McMahon. We're still waiting on estimates from Glenn. I think Nancy and Glenn are working together on that. So other than that, we're just holding tight until we get some feedback. I did send an email to Dwight and Glenn just to have a discussion, open discussion about the pods. And I think they're receptive to the idea that the building's not fully sprinklered, but that we have a strategy to make sure that Dwight is good with them. Because they need a Class A inside and Class B outside. So I think we have a strategy for how to make sure that there's no questions that come up down the road for Dwight. So we're trying to think things through, ask the right questions, and make sure these things don't happen during the construction. And that's all I had, Abby, if you want to.
Yeah,
Any questions, first of all, or should we just go to Abby?
let's go to Abby and then we can address all the McMahon questions.
All
Okay,
right.
let me stop stop sharing.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Okay. First, during the last building committee meeting, when I presented the interior finishes for McMahon, a question came up about the wall liner material that was proposed, which would have smoothened the brick and the CMU. But there was a warranty question on the adhesive. Really, there is no warranty for adhesives that I found. However, that question provoked a few other thoughts in our office, and we had some intense discussions, and we also talked to Glenn about this. And finally, we decided that we will not be doing the wall liner, just because we are dealing with a lot of unknown existing exterior walls. We don't really know what's inside those walls, especially in the summer months. If there was any condensation or if anything were to happen on the existing walls, it could become a problem in how the wall liner is maintained. That liner is not meant to be any sort of protective layer. So based on the discussions with Glenn, and for ease of maintenance and being able to identify and solve issues quickly, it was decided that the brick will just be painted. Wherever I showed that the brick will be left as the red brick, the pilasters, that remains. And wherever we show paint, the brick and the CMU will still be painted, the wall color. So there'll still be a nice bright background, but it's going to have some texture to it. That was one. Any questions on that before I move to the next item?
Questions for Abby on that? No, we're good. Go ahead, Abby.
All right, thank you. I am going to share my screen. Well, actually, last building committee meeting, we said we will be presenting the FF&E tonight for the committee's approval. Based on the fact that FF&E is furniture and technology equipment, and due to the lack of an IT director to be able to give us proper direction, and also some other pending details, we will not be presenting tonight. We need a little more extra time. So by next building committee meeting, we should have a full comprehensive presentation with all the images, pictures, final layouts, and a cost estimate for the FF&E for the project. This has obviously pushed our schedule by 2 weeks. I am going to share my screen to show you our revised schedule now for McMahon. So what changed we are in March currently. We said end of March, the 27th meeting, we'll get the committee approval. That is not right. I should have scored that out, but instead we would go into April to get the budget approval on April 10th meeting. And soon after that, we will be assisting the owner with purchase orders for furniture. We used to say we could do that mid-April, but it might get pushed to either end of April, or just to be safe, I'm saying beginning of May. What that does to the rest of the schedule is, and I'm only talking about the FF&E, I don't think there has been many changes in the construction part of the project. But based on lead times, we think it would be best if the move-in for McMahon was scheduled for late September, which would give us, especially the longest lead time item, which was library shelving, about 18 weeks, and which will probably be around mid-September when all the furniture is installed. And just as I said before for Prosser, once all the furniture goes in place, then comes the technology equipment. It's always good to have a little leeway from the time all the installations are done to the time the actual opening happens. So this seems like a good time, but we can discuss if you have any questions on this schedule.
Questions for Abby on the schedule? Bob Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Abby, again, can we have a copy of that?
Sure.
Appreciate it. And in addition, before the next meeting, when you're gonna present the FF&E, detail stuff, you can provide that to Nancy in advance so we can see it.
Yes, that
Review it.
was the intention always. Yes,
Good.
I will send it a day ahead of the meeting, so you will have everything in place in case you want to look at it and have your questions ready for the meeting.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Other questions for Abby? Or Jeff on McMahon? Any hands up, Nancy? Oh, we're back. Okay. Okay. Well, I thank you for following up on that wall liner. And seems like you made a good decision there, Abby, on that. Okay, so let's, anything else from TSKP? I think we're good. All right, thank you, team, on that. So let's move to, Sean is here from Colliers, our owner rep. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My report is pretty much the same as 2 weeks ago. Ongoing testing from Tri-State on all the concrete that's being placed. They're there to inspect the rebar, inspect the concrete placement. They have begun the core sample breaks. I believe we talked about that last meeting, but the samples that are taken sit in the lab for extended periods of time, and at 7 days, they do breaks to test the strength of the concrete. And those reports are forwarded on to Michael Horton Associates for review. Again, all those reports are submitted to the building officials as well. In terms of commissioning for the project, that's the ongoing efforts of reviewing the submittals as they're approved and any RFIs that pertain to the mechanical systems. In terms of the project overview, much the same thing that both Anthony and Jeff had displayed. Everything is going along, and all the proper procedures appear to be being followed. I did sit in on the steel pre-installation meeting that Downs organized today, and it was a group effort. The design team was there, paying a lot of attention to the details. So kudos for those. Again, I echo what Jeff said, very productive meeting. A lot of things were addressed. Also, a very productive meeting the previous week, that MDC issue that Downs mentioned that they came to resolution on. There was a lot of effort on that, including Mark was there leading the charge, a lot of design team people in there making sure that that effort happened smoothly so it didn't delay the project, and it could have potentially cost a lot of money than may be incurred. But that's all I have if there's any questions.
And as part of your move management duties, you are working on McMahon, correct?
Correct. Yes, so I will start getting in the mix with Abby once those documents are finalized and prepared, and we'll get in the mix in terms of that furniture. And also, I've been collecting the information for additional storage or moving out of the atrium space. That's all being reviewed by by Mark and Nancy.
Questions for Sean? Can you unshare your
Yes.
screen and then see people? Questions for Sean? Okay, Sean, thank you. And Nancy, we have invoices, correct? We've done them. That was it. Okay, appreciate that. Other items from committee? Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to thank Downs for the detail they're giving us on all of this as well. TSKP also for making sure that things stay in line as well. And Sean, thank you very much for staying on top of it.
Other committee members, any items? Don't see any hands. Okay. All right, good. Future meetings. So we're looking at, April 10th is our next regular meeting, and we will have a presentation update from our lead consultant. So please make sure you make that. I think it'll be some really interesting things. We can bring her in anytime we like, kind of put it off till there was some substantial things to talk about with lead. We do hear from her every other week at the owners' meetings in the trailer. So she'll be sharing all that with the building committee at our next meeting. And then we've got, next regular meeting after that is February 1st. There's no second April, May, thank you. Duh. May 1st. May 1st, it should say. It's May 1st, right? It says May 8th on the agenda, but it's May 1st. Right, right. You're going to coordinate the owners' meetings because we're going to be offset by a week. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Bob. Public comments? Do we have members of the public, Nancy?
Would like to speak, please raise your virtual hand.
Okay, thanks for attending. And with that, I will take a motion to adjourn. Moved by Bob Berman, seconded by Patrick. Thank you. Patrick, you've been quiet. Didn't even know.
I apologize for being late.
No, we knew. Thank you for letting us know. All in favor of adjourning, say aye. All right, we are adjourned, and I thank you all.
Good night, everybody.